Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. Today we will be talking about the biblical city of Ashkelon. Ashkelon is a coastal city in the southern district of Israel on the Mediterranean coast. 31 miles south of Tel Aviv and 8.1 miles north of the border with the Gaza Strip. The ancient seaport of Ashkelon dates back to the Neolithic Age. In the course of its history, it has been ruled by the ancient Egyptians, the Canaanites, the Philistines, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Phoenicians, the Hasmoneans, the Romans, the Persians, the Arabs, and the Crusaders, until it was destroyed by the Mamluks in 1270. The Arab village of Al-Majal was established a few kilometers inland from the ancient site by the late 15th century. Under Ottoman rule, in 1918 it became part of the British Occupied Enemy Territory Administration, and in 1920 became part of the Mandatory Palestine. Al-Majal, on the eve of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, had 10,000 Arab inhabitants, and in October 1948, the city accommodated thousands more refugees from nearby villages. Al-Majal was the forward position of the Egyptian expeditionary force based in Gaza. The village was conquered by Israeli forces in November 1948, by which time most of the Arab population had fled, leaving some 2,700 inhabitants, of which 500 were deported by Israeli soldiers in December 1948. The town was initially named Mijal Gaza, Mijal Gad, and Mijal Ashkelon by the new Jewish inhabitants. Most of the remaining Arabs were deported by 1950. In 1953, the coastal neighborhood of Afrodar was incorporated and the name Ashkelon was adopted for the combined town. In 1961, Ashkelon was ranked 18th among the Israeli urban centers with a population of 24,000. In 2018, the population of Ashkelon soared to 140,968, making it the third largest city in Israel's southern district. Ashkelon was the oldest and largest seaport in Canaan, part of the Pentapolis, which was a grouping of 5 cities of the Philistines, north of Gaza and south of Jaffa. The Neolithic site of Ashkelon is located on the Mediterranean coast. In the site, over 100 fireplaces and hearths were found, and numerous pits, but no solid architecture except for one wall. Various phases of occupation were found, one atop the other, with sterile layers of sea between them. And we all know when there's sterile layers of sea, you get sea sand. So in between each town that was built on top of the old one, there was a layer of thick sea sand. This indicates that the site was occupied on a seasonal basis. The main finds were enormous quantities of animal bones and flint artifacts. Usually at Neolithic sites, flints far outnumber animal bones. The bones belonged to domesticated and non-domesticated animals, When all aspects of this site are taken into account, it appears to have been used by pastoral nomads for meat processing. The nearby sea could supply salt necessary for the conservation of the meat. The city was originally built on a sandstone outcropping and has a good underground water supply. On the sea, it was defended by a high natural bluff. A roadway more than 20 feet in width ascended the rampart from the harbor and entered a gate at the top. Ashkelon became one of the 5 Philistine cities that were constantly warring with the Israelites, and later the United Kingdom of Israel and successive Kingdom of Judah. Ashkelon's inhabitants were influenced by the dominant Persian culture. Ashkelon was an important free city and Hellenistic seaport. The mausoleum was described as the most magnificent building in Ashkelon. The Mamluk dynasty came into power in Egypt in 1250, and the ancient and medieval history of Ashkelon was brought to an end in 1270. Ashkelon was formally granted to Israel in the 1949 Armistice Agreement. In 1955, Ashkelon had more than 16,000 residents, and by 2005, it was 106 million strong. Under a plan signed in October 2015, 7 new neighborhoods comprised 32,000 housing units, a new stretch of highway, and 3 new highway interchanges will be built, turning Ashkelon into the 6th largest city in Israel. Ashkelon is the northern terminus for the Trans-Israel Pipeline, which brings petroleum products from Eilat to an oil terminal at the port. The Ashkelon seawater refers osmosis desalination plant is the largest in the world. The project was developed as a built-operate transfer by a consortium of 3 international companies: Veolia Water, IDE Technologies, and Elran. In March 2006, it was voted Desalination Plant of the Year in the Global Water Awards. Since 1992, Israel Beer Breweries has been operating in Ashkelon, brewing Carlsberg and Tuborg beer for the Israel market. The brewery is owned by the Central Bottling Company, which has also held the Israeli franchise for Coca-Cola products since 1968. Arak Ashkelon, a local brand of Arak, is operated since 1925 and distributed throughout Israel. The city has 19 elementary schools, 9 junior high and high schools. That's amazing, just to have 9 junior high schools in a city of that size. The Ashkelon Academic College opened in 1998 and now hosts thousands of students. Harvard University operates an archaeological summer school program in Ashkelon. The ancient site of Ashkelon is now a national park on the city's southern coast. The walls that encircle the city are still visible, as well as Canaanite earth ramparts. The park contains Byzantine, Crusader, and Roman ruins. The largest dog cemetery in the ancient world was discovered in Ashkelon. In 1986, ruins off the 4th to 6th century baths were found in Ashkelon. The bathhouses are believed to have been used for prostitution. The remains of nearly 100 mostly male infants were found in a sewer under the bathhouse, leading to conjectures that prostitutes had discarded their unwanted newborns there. The remains of a 4th century Byzantine church with marble slab flooring and glass mosaic walls can be seen in the Barnea quarter. Remains of a synagogue from this period have also been found. An 11th century mosque, Maqam al-Nabi al-Hussein, a site of pilgrimage for both Sunnis and Shiites, which had been built under the Fatimids by Badr al-Jamali, and where tradition held that the head of Muhammad's grandson, Hussein in Ali, was buried, was blown up by the IDF under instructions from Moshe Dayan as part of the broader program to destroy mosques in the 1950s. The area was subsequently redeveloped for a local Israeli hospital, Barzilai. After the site was re-identified on the hospital grounds, funds from Mohammed Burhanuddin, leader of the Shia Ismaili sect based in India, were used to construct the marble mosque, which is visited by Shiite pilgrims from India and Pakistan. A domed structure housing the 13th century tomb of Sheikh Awad sits atop a hill overlooking Ashkelon's northern beaches. A Roman burial tomb 2 kilometers north of Ashkelon Park was discovered in 1937. There are 2 burial tombs, a painted Hellenistic cave, and a Roman cave. The Hellenistic cave is decorated with paintings of nymphs, water scenes, mythological figures, and animals. Ashkelon Khan and Museum contains archaeological finds, among them a replica of Ashkelon's Canaanite silver calf, whose discovery was reported on the front page of the New York Times. The outdoor museum near the Municipal Cultural Center displays 2 Roman burial coffins made of marble depicting battle and hunting scenes and famous mythological scenes. The Ashkelon Marina, located between Delilah and Bar Kokhba beaches, offers a shipyard and repair services. Ashkelona is a water slide park on Ashkelon Beach. Ashkelon and environs is served by the Barzilai Medical Center, established 1961. It was built in place of Hussein in Ali's 11th century mosque, a center of Muslim pilgrimages destroyed by the Israeli army in 1950. Situated 6 miles from Gaza, the hospital has been the target of numerous Qassam rocket attacks, sometimes as many as 140 over one weekend. The hospital plays a vital role in treating wounded soldiers and terror victims. A new rocket and missile-proof emergency room is under construction. In the early years, the city was primarily settled by Mizrahi Jewish, who fled to Israel after being expelled from Muslim lands. Today, Mizrahi Jewish still constitute the majority of the population. In the early 1950s, many South African Jewish settled in Ashkelon, establishing the Afrodar neighborhood. They were followed by an influx of immigrants from the United Kingdom during the 1990s. The city received additional arrivals of Ethiopian Jewish and Russian Jewish. The Ashkelon Sports Arena opened in 1999. The Jewish Eye is a Jewish World Film Festival that takes place annually in Ashkelon. The festival marked its 7th year in 2010. The Breeza Musical Festival has been held yearly in in and around Ashkelon's amphitheater since 1992. Most of the musical performances are free. Israel Lacrosse operates substantial youth lacrosse programs in the city and recently hosted the Turkey men's national team in Israel's first home international in 2013. In Ashkelon's Black Whale Inn is a traditional German academic commercium song describing a drinking binge staged in the ancient city. Ashkelon is twinned with towns or sister cities: Côte Saint-Luc in Quebec, Canada; Grodno in Belarus; Yinyang in China; Iquique in Chile; Aix-en-Provence in France; Vannes and Kutaisi in Georgia; Aviano in Italy; Berlin-Pankow in Germany; Sopot in Poland; Entebbe, Uganda, and Portland, Oregon; Baltimore, Maryland, and Sacramento, California in the USA. Notable residents were Yael Abekassis, actress and model; Yitzhak Cohen, politician; Avi Duchter, Israeli politician; Shlomo Glickstein, professional tennis player; Boris Pollock, world champion and Olympic sharpshooter, as well as probably quite a few more. But this is the biblical city of Ashkelon. From now until then in the Lord's times. God's blessings be upon us all, and have a good day.